Hey everyone, how are you doing? Hope you're having a good week. I just realised when I did this, I I got like a bit of a screenshot from the last Facebook Live that I did. And I realised I was wearing the same dress last Wednesday as I'm wearing this Wednesday. So I promise you, it is a separate video, and I do have more than two dresses. But yeah, somehow this has ended up being the same dress 2 weeks in a row. Hey Karen. Um, so tonight I'm going to share with you two fancy fold cards. Now these I thought I'd done a video and I can't find it, but before I went to Rotterdam, these were fancy folds that I did with my team on a team day, on a virtual team day. We did them online, and I said that I would share them with the wider team and with everybody else. And so I had done a video that should have played while I was in Rotterdam. Doesn't seem to have worked, and I don't know what's happened to it. So that's the card that I'm going to make tonight. Two cards. So one of them is one that we did at the retreat, and the other one is an extension of that. So let me flip round and put some lights on. So apologies for anyone who's at the retreat, who was at the retreat, because you'll have seen this version before. And if you were at the team day, you'll have seen this one before. But these are the two cards that I'm going to make for you today. So this one here uses a folded piece of designer series paper to give you a folded effect like that. And then this one is the same principle, but it opens up at the front, and then you've got these two pieces that come out like this. So these are the cards that I'm going to make for you today. And I'm going to show you all the measurements so that you can make these as well. Hey Linda, I'm glad you finally found me. Right, we're going to start off with the normal C6 size one. Both of these fit in a normal C6 envelope, but we're going to start off with this one because this was the starter model, if you like. And I'm using the gorgeous A Little Latte designer series papers. And I'm just going to do this one exactly the same because I've got the other half. You need half a sheet of 12 by 12. And even then, it's not actually half. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to cut this. So it's 12 inches that way, but we're going to go down, and we're doing centimetres here for everyone who gets confused when I switch between centimetres and inches. Centimetres and inches. And you're going to cut this at 14.3. So you have a strip that is 14.3 centimetres along this piece here. Now, this is a card where you see both sides of the designer series paper. And if you look at the card sample, we kind of start off with this piece here, the widest piece. So depending on which way up your card goes, if there's a pattern in a specific way that you want it to be, this would be the point to check it. But your first score line is at 10 centimetres. And if you're using the Stampin' Up! Trimmer, you want to be gentle with your scoring blade, because if you push too hard, it could cut through the paper. So the first one is at 10. Then we go down to 17 and a half. Then we go down to 25. And then finally we go down to 29 and we cut. And we're just going to trim off that last little piece. And then when you fold this all together, I shall show you how this all comes together. By the way, for anybody who shops with me in March or April, this is a free tutorial which you will get. To be fair, if you're on my email list, I'm going to be sending it out to everybody on my mailing list. But if you shop with me, you will get the tutorial and you'll get a selection of designer series papers and pieces of cardstock for you to actually make these cards yourself. So that is the free shopper's gift that I'm doing for March and April. So this one, you can see I've kind of folded it the opposite way around so that it opens up like that. If you wanted to do it this way, it's dead simple. You just fold all your lines in the opposite way around and have it like that. But this one, I thought I would do basically the reverse of the first one. What you're going to do next is just stick this to your cardstock backing. So I have a piece of Lost Lagoon, which I'm going to take down to 14.8, which is a standard C6 size, but then I'm going to cut it at 10.5. And so that is the panel, which is the size of a normal card and will therefore fit in a normal envelope. And I'm going to glue that on there. While I've still got my trimmer out though, I'm just going to have a scrap. I thought I do. I'm trying to be better at using up my scraps. And I knew I had a smaller piece. You're going to cut a square of Lost Lagoon that is 7 centimetres by 7 centimetres. And then while we're cutting pieces, you're going to take a piece of basic white and you're going to cut this to 6.5 by 6.5. And finally, you're going to have a piece of basic white, which is 13.8 by 7. And the reason that I've got this pre-cut is that I was making a whole pile of them. And if you think of the width of A4, the width of A4 is 21. So if you cut it down the way to 13.8 and then cut it 7 and 14, you'll basically get 3 panels that are the right size. So it's an easy card to do in bulk. Right, let's put the trimmer away for a second. And you know, I got everything I needed apart from glue. I was doing so well there. Let me just grab some glue. I thought for once I was going to be completely organised where I had everything that was needed. Should have known better. So with our pieces here, I'm going to start off with some trusty Tombow. I put this all over the back. One of the reasons I love this card is because you get to see both sides of the designer series paper. And so often our DSP is absolutely gorgeous on both sides. And it's a struggle to decide which side you're going to glue down and which side you're going to show off. But with this, you get to do both of them. Hey Debbie, glad you're here. Once you've done this, we're going to take this piece here and it's going to glue to the inside panel because you need somewhere where you can write on your card. Cards are fun to make and they're lovely to look at, but their purpose is to be written and given away. So please make a card, send a card. Let your gorgeous creations out into the world. Right, I'm using the Perennial Postage stamp set here and I'm going to do another You're Simply Marvellous. I think this is a sentiment I'm using quite a lot at the moment. I do know lots of people who are simply marvellous, which is nice. There we go, my early espresso ink. And all I'm going to do is just along the bottom of my square. There we go. Brought my chamois to clean things off just because it was easy. Yes, the Stampin' Scrub is great for getting into all those wee bits, but sometimes the chamois will do as well. Although you see now I'm looking, it hasn't got into all those cracks. Maybe I should have just used my Stampin' Scrub. Would have been quicker in the long run. Oh well. Next, that square, I'm just going to stick it on to my Lost Lagoon. It's a beautiful shade. Love, love, love. Now, when you're sticking this onto the front of your card, you're going to position it in the center and then look to see where the line comes down, because you only want to be putting glue on this piece. So the easiest way to do it is find roughly where it goes with your thumb, and then make sure that you just put, you just put glue on that bottom piece there, and then turn it back over, position it centrally, make sure it's straight, stick it down. There we go. And then to finish this one off, I'm going to go back to my a little latte stamp set. I keep needing to remember what it's called because I want to call it a lots of latte. That's not what it is, it's a little latte. And I'm going to use one of these coffee cups. Now, pro tip here, see this coffee cup here? It's kind of like sliced off the edge. So you're thinking, well, it's only a partial. What do I do with a partial coffee cup? I'm going to show you. Hey, Julie. So I'm going to fussy cut round this coffee cup. Now, I'm fussy cutting because I don't actually have the dies that go with this set. There is a stamp set that goes with it that's got matching dies. It is a lovely stamp set. I didn't go for it. I just got the papers at the moment because I wasn't sure how much I would use it. But the amount of times I've been fussy cutting around these cups, I am starting to regret it. But hey ho. I can stick, see, I was going to stick it along there, but then the heart's upside down. I should really have done this before I stamped my sentiment. I'm going to stick that along the edge there. Now you can use foam pads, but I forgot to bring them over, so I'm just going to use Tombow. I'm going to put it there, like such. And then to finalize this, so these are the adhesive backed swirl dots, which coordinate with this particular suite. And I'm going to just put some of these along the other side. So we'll put one there, put one there, and we'll put one there. There we go. And that's our card done. So showing you how to use a partial image on your designer series paper so nothing's wasted. And you've got this card that's got a panel for writing in there, and that will fit in a standard C6 envelope. Okay. So that is card one that I've got to show you tonight. This is then the second card, and this is the one that we did at my virtual team day. So I'm going to show you how we made this one. And it starts off again with a piece of designer series paper. So let's get my trimmer out. And I'm going to use, will I use the same papers as I used before? You know what? I'm going to mix things up this time. I'm going to use these papers with the little Calypso Coral coffee beans on the other side. So this particular card, I'm pretty sure, we're going to start off, are we going to do it in inches, or are we just going to do the whole lot in centimetres? 10. Let's do the whole lot in centimetres. We can do this, for those who don't like working in inches. So you're going to cut a strip of your designer series paper that is 9 centimetres. Then with your trimmer, you're going to very carefully score at 9, just gentle. Then you're going to take it down and you're going to score at 18. And then finally, you're going to take it all the way down to 27 and you're going to cut a little bit left over like that. So what you should have is a piece that when you fold it up, it folds equally into thirds. Okay? So it should look like that. 9 centimeters by 9, 18, 27. Okay. While you've got your trimmer out, let's cut the pieces that you need. So you're going to cut with, so early espresso, and again you'll see I'm using up my scraps here. End up with lots of scraps. Thinking of doing like a scrap class where you can come and just have at all my scraps of card and packs of designer CDs paper. I'm sure we would get pretty far just with scraps. I'm doing a square here that is 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. So remember, our designer series paper was 9 by 9. So this is 10 by 10. And then next, I'm going to take another piece. And this one, I'm going to do this 9.5 by 9.5. So what you should have now is a piece, so I've used early espresso for the larger square, and then Calypso Coral for the square that goes on the top, and then my designer series paper should fit on the top in the centre of that as well. Okay. While I've still got my Calypso Coral, I'm going to cut, checking the size as I did. I want these strips to be 2 centimeters, and I'm going to cut 2 of them. I'm just doing it the width of my A4, and it doesn't matter if it's too long because I'm going to trim them down, but I want them to both be 2 centimeters wide. Okay. And actually, again, just while I'm here, I'm going to punch out a couple of heartfelt hexagons in my Calypso Coral, and I'm going to do one in my early espresso as well. There we go. Piece is probably too small now for anything. Let's pop that down to one side. Right, so that's all my cutting done, and done for this card. So what I'm going to do to assemble this, I'm going to start off, so with my piece of designer series paper, I'm just going to check that those score lines are nice and straight. So what you want to do is you want to do diagonal scores from the top right to the bottom left. So I'm just going to do it manually. I'm not going to worry about getting my trimmer out again because I've just put it away. But I'm just going to trim. I'm going to fold that and score it along there. Now, the important thing is that both score lines go in the same direction. So if you did top right to bottom left on that side, you want to make sure you do top right to bottom left on the other side. This is important. If you have the score lines going in opposite directions, then, I mean, you're going to end up with a pretty card, but it's not going to be this card. You'll have created your own fancy fold. Well done. There you go. So you want something that looks like this, because what's going to happen next is, actually, I'm trying to decide which way around I want my card to be, because basically your folds will then join together in the center like that. Okay? So if you've done it one side and you want to do it the other, that's fine. Or you can just swap it around. If you think, oh, I wanted that DSP to be on the top, or that DSP to be on the inside, you can change it around. But that's the very important bit. Both of your score lines have to go in the same direction, because then when it folds in, they're going to match together like that. What do you think? Calypso coral on the outside, or do it the other way? Have it the early espresso on the outside. You see, I think both would look pretty. Do that, or I do that. You let me know what you think. So if you want it to be Calypso coral on the outside, vote coral. If you want it to be early espresso on the outside, vote early espresso. While you're voting, I will do the sentiment. Oh, yeah, I'll do the sentiment and then I'll come back. So I am going to use, because I've got a sentiment on both the outside and on the inside. So let's again go to my perennial postage. I've got a vote for coral already. And I'm going to use the Love and Best Wishes stamp, which is this one here. Haven't put the sticker on yet, but it will still be fine. Now you see I've got one for coral and one for early espresso. Who's going to be the tiebreaker? Next person to vote is the one that gets the tiebreaker. I managed to do that very squint. It doesn't matter that it's squint though, because I'm about to cut it out with my punch. See, this is why I should have stuck the sticker on first. If I had stuck the sticker, it wouldn't have been quite so squint. Right, back to my trusty hexagon punch. And I'm gonna just trim the bottom of this slightly. Come on guys, one more vote. Tell me which it should be. The choice is between coral and early espresso. We've got one vote on each side at the moment. There we go. Right. What I want to do with my sentiment. So if you can see here, I have my sentiment on the inside, but I want to just have it with a bit of a coloured background. Now, I can't decide which one I'm going to do, because if I do it espresso, then I think it should have the Calypso coral background. But if I do it Calypso coral, I think it should have the early espresso background. So I need to wait till you lot have finished voting. Let's do the card on the front. Either way, it's going to get one of these cups on the front. So let's use this one here. I will fussy cut. When I was a student, I used to work in a restaurant and I had to make coffees for people. And I became a bit of an expert at doing coffees and cappuccinos. I could do the feathery type picture that goes on the top of the cappuccinos and the heart. You see some really fancy things now, people doing swans and pandas and all sorts of incredible things on top of cups of coffee. I was just pleased if I could get it to froth. It's not as easy as it looks. You got to have the milk at the right temperature and you got to move it around correctly, and it's very stressful for a poor wee student who just wants to make minimum wage and go home. Right. Still haven't had any tiebreakers on that. So I'm going to go with... what am I going to go with? I'm going to go with Karen's coral because she got in there first. Sorry, Debbie. It was a close run thing, and I think both of them would be really pretty. but I do need to pick one, and Karen did get in there first. So I am going to stick that. So my square, I'm going to stick it down onto my square of Calypso Coral. That's it. Glue's on it now. It's too late. Anybody else who was thinking of voting? The ship has sailed. Or as my boss said in work this week, the boat has left. Which isn't quite the same thing as the ship has sailed, but we all knew what she was talking about. The boat has left. The ship has sailed. There we go. Okay. So I've got that stuck down there. I'm going to then have my early espresso on the inside. And the way that I'm going to do the background is I'm going to get my trimmer again. And I'm going to slice this in half. So if I measure it, I can see that it is 2¼ inches. So I'm just going to take that to 1 1/8 of an inch. And then the whole thing will cut through quite neatly. And then if I find little scraps of early espresso that I was using earlier, let's just take another wee strip. And I'm just going to cut this to just 1/4 inch. Doesn't need to be much. Don't throw away the piece that I've just cut, Emma. So what I'm going to do is this little piece here, I'm going to stick that down the centre of my back of my shape. Line it up so it's roughly centred, although it doesn't really matter. Then I'm going to put glue round 1/2, and I'm going to slide that other half that I've chopped just on there, like so. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. Slide that on, like so. Okay. So then all I'm going to do is take my scissors and just trim that centre piece at the top and at bottom. And there you go. I now have a background for my sentiment. I'm going to stick on the inside. Now, before I stick it down, I was just going to point out the card which I did before has got the flaps at the top of the bottom that we're going to put on in a second, and it opens up from left to right. But this one, I'm going to do it slightly different, inspired by one of my lovely friends and team members. She had done hers round the other way, so it opens top and bottom. And she said, oh no, I've done it wrong. But actually, I think it looks really cool. So I'm going to do one of these. I'm going to call this one the Debbie method, where I'm doing it up and down instead of left and right. There we go. So I've stuck my sentiment on, and now my square folds in like so. Next, let's get our pieces of Calypso Coral, which is in the same colour as my base card here. And all I'm going to do is get some glue along the edge of that strip, and I'm going to put it in the centre. It doesn't have to be bang on the centre, so don't worry if it's not perfect. Just position it by eye. I'm going to glue that down there, and then I'm going to fold it so that it cuts across the front of my card like so. Then the other piece I'm going to stick down the same on the back at the centre. Now this one, I do want to line it up with the one that I've just done, because they do need to kind of cover each other up. So when I fold this up, I'm just going to check that it lines up with the other one. This is the beauty of using Tombow. It's very forgiving. So I want to make sure that these strips line up with each other at the top and the bottom. Next, so I'm going to do this with the top one first. I'm going to measure it down, and I want to cut it maybe about 1/4 inch from the bottom. So you can see there, I've just chopped it till it's there. And then I'm going to do the same with the other strip, but this time I'm going to do it about 1/4 inch from the top. So now I have my strips that go over and cover each other up like so. Next, what I want to do, and I'm just going to watch how I did it last time, make sure I get it right again. Yeah, with your top strip, you're going to cut maybe about halfway into the strip, like so. Because what you want to do is have this strip intersect with the one below, okay? But if you do that, you'll realise that it doesn't go the whole way, it'll only go part of the way. And that's where you make just a little notch with your scissors. And then, so on the top strip, you come in from the left. On the bottom strip, you come in from the right. And again, cut about halfway. So then what happens is that these two strips interlock, and that's what holds your card shut. Like so. And now all you need to do is, well, I was going to say all you need to do is decorate the front. No, first of all, we're going to cover up these bits here by sticking this onto our backing. So this is our 10 by 10 centimetre square of contrasting cardstock. There you go. And then next I'm going to, let's get another one of these. Now, this time I'm going to cut my heartfelt hexagon in half, but I'm not going to do that piece that I did before covering up the centre, and I'll show you why. Because this piece is the same colour as the strips, you don't notice so much that it's missing a bit because it's sticking on that same coloured piece. So this time, let's just get some glue on the back of my shape. I think this Tombow is running out. And line it up like so. And then the same on the other side. I mean, it's lovely having the nesting dies, but you can get a similar effect with punches, and it's quick and easy. And you know me, I love a bit of quick and easy. So there, you can see that if you look closely, there's a gap at the top and the bottom. But once I've stuck that onto the front of my card, you're not going to be able to tell. Now remember, I'm only sticking it down where the strip is. So I'm just putting glue in that centre piece, and then I'm sticking it to the top of the strip. And then I'm going to stick on my coffee cup that I fussy cut before. It's going to go on there like so. And then again, I'm just going to finish this off with some of the swirl dots. I'm just going to put along the bottom of my strip. there you have it. That is our second card. So it opens up just by pulling to separate these two strips, and then this one opens top and bottom, whereas my previous one opened from left to right, and then they both close up just with the strip as shown. And I've got my sentiment on the inside there. So what do you think? Do you have a preference? Do you like the side opening versus the top opening for these two cards? When it came to the one that I did at the start, now there you go. You see, this one's nice and flat, that one's not. The way to keep it nice and flat is just to make sure that all of these creases are nicely scored, because that will keep it all flat. There we go. There you go. Those are our two cards for this evening. I hope you like them. I'm going to flip back to me and switch off the Blackpool Illuminations. There we go. I hope you've enjoyed that, guys. I have a couple more things I just wanted to let you know very quickly. First of all, I'm going to be emailing out everybody on my list with the free tutorial for both of these cards with all the measurements. So if you're on my mailing list, that's coming through to you this evening. If you're not, then you can sign up to my mailing list. Just drop me a wee message. I'm more than happy to add you. Secondly, I am going to be sending through the last chance list, because the annual catalogue and the spring summer catalogue are going to be ending at the end of April, which means during April there are some discounts up to 60% off many of the items. These discounts are expected to go really quickly, and items are going to sell out fast. So if there's anything you're wanting, you need to get your order in with me in advance, and then as soon as the ordering opens on the 9th of April, I'm going to be there the first minute. I'm going to get everybody's order in, and that's the best chance of getting the things that you want. So obviously you can do it yourself if you want to, that's not a problem. But if you want to order through me, you'll get the discounted postage, and I guarantee I will be there the minute it goes live, plugging in those orders to make sure that we all get as many of those bargains as we can. So if that's something you're interested in, then just drop me a message. As I say, I'm going to email all that stuff out to you this evening. And as always, if you've got any questions about anything, then please do reach out. Okay, take care everybody. Have a fabulous week. Bye.